We're spending a larger percentage of our lives in poor health than previous generations did, simply because our medicine is better at keeping bodies alive in disease states. Why is this happening? If we are so smart, if our tech is so good, why is the end so hard for so many? Is this what success in aging looks like?
Hello and welcome back. It is so good to have you here with us. If you are listening to this right now, I'm willing to bet you're someone who plots the trajectory.
Hmm.
That's why you are tuning in to the Living Better podcast.
It is great to be here. And this is one of those topics that I think it feels a little heavy when you first see the outline,
Yeah.
but it's actually, it's incredibly optimistic if you look at it through the right lens.
That brings us to the core philosophy of this whole thing.
Living longer is a science. Living better is a choice.
I love that. It gives me chills every time. So today, to be fair, we have a massive stack of data right here.
We have a mountain of data.
Yeah.
We have the numbers, we all see the trends, but the real question is what we do about them.
Mm.
It's about moving the conversation from, say, statistics to strategy. Before we can even begin to build that strategy, we have to handle the housekeeping.
We do. And listen, this isn't just the legal team talking. This is, well, it's crucial for your safety and for the integrity of this episode. I need to deliver a very clear, very sober disclaimer.
Go for it.
While we are incredibly passionate about all this research and we love sharing these findings with you, please remember, we are not your doctors. We're researchers. We're guides through this material. This content is for informational and educational purposes only. It is absolutely not medical advice. So, always consult a qualified healthcare professional before changing your diet, your exercise routine, or any health protocols. Please, do not take a podcast episode, this one or any other, as a prescription. Are we clear on that?
Crystal clear. Now let's dive in.
All right. I want to start with a number. If you look back over the last century, let's say from around 1900 to now, human life expectancy has increased by more than 20 years.
That's not a small jump. That is an entire generation of time that's been gifted to us. We stopped dying from simple infections that are now treated with a $5 pill.
We are living longer than any of our ancestors could have possibly dreamed of. But, and you knew there was a but coming, this is where the data starts to get uncomfortable.
This is the pivot point.
Because while we have this incredible headline statistic, humans live longer, the details underneath tell a very different and frankly a darker story. Researchers who track global health trends, and we're talking about the heavy hitters here like the World Health Organization, have found a deeply conflicting reality.
And this is where we have to introduce a new term, a new metric. Most people know life expectancy. That's the number on the insurance chart. But the WHO tracks something called Hale Health Adjusted Life Expectancy.
Hey, Ellie, let's break that down because I honestly think this might be the single most important metric we're going to discuss today.
I agree. So you have the total number of years you were alive. That's your lifespan, the big number. But then you have the number of years you were alive in good health.
So what does in good health actually mean in this context?
It means functioning, independent, relatively pain-free. It means without a major debilitating chronic disease. And the data shows that the gap between those two numbers, your total lifespan and your healthy lifespan, is getting wider.
Okay, so let me get this straight. We aren't necessarily getting extra good years added to our lives. We are adding years to the end, but those years are, well, they're compromised.
To put it bluntly, in many cases, we aren't getting extra life. We are getting extra hard years.
Extra hard years. Wow. That is a chilling way to put it, but it sounds accurate.
It's accurate. We are seeing people live well into their 80s and 90s, which is amazing. But those bonus years aren't always filled with hiking and painting and playing with great-grandkids.
No. Often those years are defined by what epidemiologists call the burden of disease. It becomes a management job.
A full-time job.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are talking about a state of existence where you are technically alive, your heart is beating, your lungs are inflating, but your quality of life is severely, severely compromised. You spend your time managing symptoms, not living a life. You're navigating the healthcare system, not the world.
And that brings us right to the main theme of this entire episode. We are calling it the longevity paradox.
The longevity paradox.
Let's define this because I think everyone listening feels this paradox on an intuitive level, even if they've never put a name to it.
The paradox is essentially this. We are, as a culture, obsessed with living longer. We chase it.
But at the same time, we are terrified of aging.
That's it. That's the core conflict. We want the number, we want to hit 100, but we are absolutely terrified of what the road from 80 to 100 actually looks like for most people.
No.
We want the result without the process that we see happening all around us, to our parents, to our grandparents.
And that fear is rational. It's not just vanity. It's not about wrinkles. When you look at the trajectory of the extra hard years, they are marked by specific, very difficult characteristics.
We're talking about chronic illness. We're talking about a daily routine that revolves around pill organizers and doctor's appointments and managing side effects.
And let's talk about the big one, limited mobility, the loss of physical freedom.
Oh, that's huge. Just losing the ability to navigate your world freely, not being able to walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded, not being able to get off the toilet without help.
And that leads directly to the ultimate fear, I think, for so many people. Dependence, losing your autonomy.
Precisely. I honestly believe that for most people, the fear of death is actually secondary to the fear of being a burden. It's the fear of losing the agency to make your own coffee, to dress yourself, to drive yourself to the store. That loss of self.
I agree completely. So to really solve this paradox, or at least start to, we need to get very, very specific about our definitions. We touched on HAL, but let's properly lay out the two critical terms in longevity science, lifespan and health span.
Right. These are the two pillars. Lifespan is the simple one. It's the straightforward metric. It is binary. You are alive or you are not. It is the number on the tombstone. It's what the Census Bureau cares about.
Okay. Simple enough. How long you live.
Health span, on the other hand, is much more nuanced. Health span is the period of your life spent in good health, free from chronic disease and significant disability. It's the period where you are still you. It's the period where you can participate in life rather than just observe it from the sidelines.
And the goal of the Living Better podcast, and really the goal of what you could call modern longevity medicine, should be to make those two numbers, lifespan and health span, match up as closely as possible.
That's the dream scenario. Ideally, you want the curves to overlap almost perfectly. You want to be healthy, vibrant, functional, and then boom, lights out. One bad day at the end of a really great life.
I've heard this called the squaring of the morbidity curve.
Yes. A researcher named James Fries proposed this back in the 80s. Instead of a long, slow, painful slide down, which is what we have now for so many, you stay at a high level of function and then you drop off very quickly at the very end.
I like that visual. It's better to burn out than to fade away, quite literally in a biological sense. But currently that is not what is happening for the majority. And we are referencing serious international studies here, specifically data published in journals like the Lancet. These aren't fringe blogs. This is the gold standard of medical research.
And the Lancet confirms it time and again. While lifespan is rising globally, health span is lagging far behind. We're spending a larger percentage of our lives in poor health than previous generations did, simply because our medicine is better at keeping bodies alive in disease states.
I want to make this concrete for everyone listening, because stats from the Lancet can feel a bit abstract. The source material we reviewed includes a story, an anecdote about a grandfather that I think perfectly and poignantly captures this medicine trap.
Ah, the grandfather story. It's a classic, sad example, but I bet almost every single listener has a version of this story in their own family.
I think so too. So the story goes like this. This person's grandfather lived well into his late 80s. Now, on paper, if you're just looking at the census data, that is a success. The system worked. He beat the average.
Right. If you were an actuary or a politician looking at national life expectancy charts, that's a win. Yeah. He contributed to the rising life expectancy statistic.
But the reality for the family, and more importantly for the grandfather himself, was very, very different. The source details that the last 10 to 12 years of his life were not spent traveling. They weren't spent building things in his workshop or gardening.
So what were they spent doing?
They were spent managing decline.
Oof, that phrase lands heavy.
It does. It implies that the full-time job of his existence became just slowing the loss of function, moving from the cane to the walker, from the walker to the wheelchair, from the wheelchair to the bed. It was a decade of subtraction, not addition.
It shifts the entire focus from living to simply surviving. And it poses that really uncomfortable question for all of us. Is this what success in aging looks like?
Exactly. If the price of those last 10 years is the total loss of quality, of agency, of joy, is it a success that we actually want for ourselves?
I think for 99% of people, the answer is a resounding no. We want the years, but not those kinds of years. And this leads us straight into the why. Why is this happening? If we are so smart, if our tech is so good, if we have MRIs and robotic surgery and all these miracle drugs, why is the end so hard for so many?
Let's get right into that. This is section 2, the medicine trap.
The medicine trap. It sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theory, but it's really just a structural analysis of how our modern healthcare system was built and what it was designed to do.
To understand it, we need to distinguish between two fundamental types of care: acute care and chronic care.
Correct. Modern medicine, the system we've built over the last 100 years, Dr. Peter Attia often calls it Medicine 2.0, is an absolute miracle machine for acute care.
Give us the highlight reel of acute care. What is it exactly?
Acute care is reactive. It deals with immediate, life-threatening problems. Think about infections. Pneumonia used to be called the old man's friend because it was a leading killer. Now, a course of antibiotics. Think about trauma car accidents, broken bones, severe burns. We are incredible at putting people back together.
And heart attacks, right?
A massive heart attack, yes. If you can get to a cath lab within an hour, your odds of survival are astounding compared to what they were just a few decades ago.
So, to summarize the success, the system is brilliant at preventing early death. It stops the things that kill you fast.
Precisely. It is designed to intervene in a crisis and pull you back from the ledge. It shines when the problem is immediate and catastrophic.
But here's the flip side. Here is the failure.
The failure is that this very same system is far, far less effective at preventing the slow, silent, creeping accumulation of chronic diseases.
We're talking about what are sometimes called the 4 horsemen of aging.
Right, the big ones. Type 2 diabetes, or more broadly, metabolic dysfunction, cardiovascular and cerebrovascular disease, so heart attacks and strokes, cancer, and neurodegenerative disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia.
And Medicine 2.0, our current system, it basically waits for these to show up and then it tries to manage them.
It waits for the heart attack to treat the heart disease. It waits for the tumor to be detectable before it treats the cancer. It keeps you alive with the disease. But it historically hasn't been great at stopping the disease from taking root in the first place, a process that usually begins decades earlier.
So it's like we're playing whack-a-mole with symptoms.
We are. And we are playing it with very, very extensive hammers. We treat the high blood sugar, we treat the high cholesterol, we treat the tumor, but we often miss the underlying systemic cause until it's far too late to reverse.
It sounds like we have a system that is excellent at stopping you from dying, but not necessarily very good at keeping you healthy.
That is the absolute crux of it. We treat the event, not the process. We treat the car crash, but we don't teach better driving habits.
This leads to that really profound realization in our notes, that we aren't extending youth. We are currently just extending the ending.
Extending the ending. Living through a long, low-quality decline takes a toll not just on the body, but on the mind, on the spirit. It changes how a person views themselves. It changes the dynamic of a family from one of connection to one of caretaking.
So if the hospital can't save us from this slow decline, if the cavalry isn't coming to save us from aging itself, what can? And this brings us to section 3, the science of influence. And I want to stress that word. I said influence, not control.
That distinction is vital. Control implies we are gods. Influence implies we are smart operators playing the odds.
So let's manage some expectations right here at the start of this section. Because if you go online right now, if you scroll through Instagram or TikTok or whatever, you are just bombarded with longevity content.
So it's a gold rush. Biohacking this, biohacking that.
Exactly. The idea that if I just take this obscure supplement made of moss from a specific mountain and I sit in a 34-degree ice bath for exactly 11 minutes and I tape my mouth shut while I sleep, I will live to be 150 and never get sick.
It's the constant search for the magic bullet. The myth is that there is a perfect protocol out there, that if you just hack the code, biology will obey your commands.
And the source material we looked at is very, very blunt about this, the truth. Biology doesn't work that way. There are no guarantees.
None. Zero. You can be a vegan marathon runner who does everything right and get pancreatic cancer at 40. You can have a relative who smoked a pack a day and lived to be 90. Biology is messy. It's stochastic, which is a fancy word meaning there's a huge element of randomness involved.
So we are not looking for certainty. We can eliminate risk.
We are looking for probability. We're playing the odds. The goal is to stack the deck so heavily in our favor that the house almost always loses.
And how do we do that? Let's talk about the biggest card in the deck. Genetics versus lifestyle.
Ah, yes. This is the age-old excuse, isn't it? Oh, my dad had a bad heart, so I'm doomed. Or, on the flip side, my grandma lived to 95 drinking whiskey every day, so I'm fine.
Right. Do I have any real say in this, or is the script already written for me in my DNA?
The data from major institutions, we're talking Harvard, Stanford, the famous Danish twin studies, is surprisingly and wonderfully empowering. Lifestyle factors often explain a much larger portion of how we age than genetics does.
Okay, wait. Break that down for me. How much is actually genes? What's the split?
Well, the estimates vary a bit depending on what you're measuring, but a common rule of thumb in the longevity science community is that until you get to about age 80, your genes are maybe 20 to 30% of the equation. Lifestyle, how you sleep, eat, move, manage stress, connect with others, that's the other 70 to 80%.
So we are not passengers in a car driven by our genes. We're actually driving the car.
We are absolutely driving the car. Now, to be fair, once you get into the realm of superagers, people living to 100, 105, genes start to matter a lot more. To be a centenarian, you usually need to have won some kind of genetic lottery. There are specific genes that seem to protect against the ravages of aging. But to get to 85 or 90 in good health, that is largely under your influence.
That is huge. That changes everything. It means we have agency. It means what I eat for lunch today genuinely matters for my 80-year-old self.
It matters immensely, and we have expert voices backing this up. The research consistently highlights people like Dr. Nir Barzilai.
He's the guy who studies the superagers, the centenarians, right?
Correct. He runs the Einstein Aging Study. He looks at the genetics and lifestyles of people who live to 100 and beyond in good health. And his view is very specific. He says the goal is not immortality.
We are not trying to live forever.
No. His goal is delaying disease. It is all about pushing the onset of those chronic conditions further and further back into the lifespan.
So instead of getting type 2 diabetes at 50, maybe you get a touch of insulin resistance at 85. Instead of heart disease at 60, maybe it's a minor issue at 95.
Exactly. You compress morbidity. You shorten the sick time. If you get sick at 95 and die at 96, you had a fantastic run. That's a win.
And then we have Dr. Peter Attia. If you're even remotely interested in this stuff, you've probably heard his name.
He's really done an incredible job of bridging the gap between the super complex science and public understanding.
He has a philosophy that I think anchors this entire episode, and he says, longevity without function is not success.
Say that again. Longevity without function is not success.
So why is function the true metric? Why not just the number of years?
Because function is freedom. Function is agency. Function is the ability to pick up your grandchild from the floor without throwing out your back. It is the ability to carry your own groceries up a flight of stairs. It is the ability to travel and see the world without needing a wheelchair or a walker.
It's the difference between watching life from a window and actually participating in it.
Yes. 1,000 times yes. If you live to 100 but you haven't been able to leave your bed or a chair for the last decade, have you really won? Dr. Attia argues no. And I think deep down, most of us would agree.
So we know it's possible to influence this. We know it's desirable. But as a society, we aren't really doing it. Why not? And this brings us to section 4, the optimization gap.
This is where the psychology meets the biology. This is the head game, and it's where most of us fail.
The source material we looked at points out this massive gaping blind spot. We are a society that is obsessed with optimization. We optimize our careers, we grind for the promotion, for the corner office, we optimize our finances.
Oh, absolutely. We have spreadsheets for our 401ks. We worry constantly about having enough money when we're 75. We have compound interest calculators on our phones. We stress about inflation and market downturns.
But here's the gap. We rarely, if ever, optimize for the person we will be at 75.
We treat our future health as something that will just happen. Or worse, we assume that if we have enough money, we can just buy good health later.
But that's the fallacy, isn't it? You can't buy healthspan at 75 if you haven't been investing in it since you were 40.
That is the hard, brutal truth. You cannot cram for the final exam of aging.
You cannot cram for the exam of aging. I love that. I'm writing that down.
It's true. It's cumulative. Just like compound interest works for your money, it works for your health, for good or for bad. Atherosclerosis, the plaque that builds up in your arteries, that doesn't happen overnight. It happens over 30 or 40 years of choices. Sarcopenia, muscle loss, doesn't happen in a week. It's the result of decades of inactivity.
So we need to develop a kind of empathy for our future selves.
You have to. You have to look at your 75-year-old self not as some stranger, but as you. And you have to ask, what can I do today to make that person's life better? What can I do today so he or she can walk up the stairs without pain?
It's like sending a care package into the future. Every workout is a deposit. Every good night's sleep is a deposit. Every salad is a deposit.
Exactly. And every cigarette, every all-nighter, every ultra-processed meal is a withdrawal from that account.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Let's get practical. We've done the philosophy, the why. Let's do the tactics, the how. We're moving into section 5, the longevity traffic light.
I love frameworks like this. Simple, visual, actionable. It takes it out of the abstract.
The goal here is not perfection. We're not saying you have to become a robot. It is about systematically reducing the odds of that long, low-quality decline. We have red, yellow, and green. Let's start with the bad news first.
Let's do it. The red light. Things to seriously reconsider.
These are the danger zones. These are the behaviors that are actively and measurably shortening your health span.
And the list is not controversial. This is backed by decades of public health data. Chronic inactivity, poor sleep, unmanaged stress, and smoking.
Okay, let's drill down on chronic inactivity because I think people hear that and they think, oh, I'm fine. I went to the gym for 45 minutes this morning.
And that is the trap. You can be what researchers call an active couch potato.
An active couch potato, explain that.
Yes. If you go for a run for 30 minutes in the morning, but then you sit in a chair for 12 hours straight at work and at home, you are still battling the negative physiology of sedentariness. The workout helps, but it doesn't erase the damage of the sitting.
What actually happens in our body when we sit for that long? What's the mechanism of harm?
Your biology basically goes into shutdown mode. There is a critical enzyme called lipoprotein lipase. Its job is to pull fat out of the blood to be used for energy. When you sit for prolonged periods, the activity of this enzyme in your muscles drops by something like 90%.
So the vacuum cleaner that sucks fat out of your bloodstream just turns off.
It basically turns off. At the same time, your insulin sensitivity plummets. Your body essentially says, oh, we aren't moving. Okay, signal received. Let's store everything as fat and ramp up inflammation.
So the red light isn't just don't be a couch potato, it's stop being a statue for hours on end.
Exactly. The fix is simple. Break up the sitting every hour, get up and move for just 2 minutes. Do some air squats, walk around the office, just turn that enzyme back on.
Okay, next red light, sleep. We could do a whole multi-part series on sleep.
We absolutely should, but the headline, the critical takeaway is this. Sleep is when your brain takes out the trash. Literally.
Explain that process. It sounds fascinating.
We have something called the glymphatic system. You can think of it like the sewage system for the brain. When you go into deep, slow-wave sleep, your brain cells actually shrink a little bit. This allows cerebrospinal fluid to wash through the spaces between them and clear out metabolic waste that built up during the day.
And waste like amyloid beta, the stuff associated with Alzheimer's?
Exactly. Amyloid beta and tau proteins, both implicated in Alzheimer's disease. If you consistently shorten your sleep, you aren't running the brain's dishwasher. You are leaving the dirty plates in the sink. And if you do that for 30 years straight, you have a major, major problem.
That is both terrifying and incredibly motivating at the same time.
Okay, let's move to the yellow light. Things to monitor.
Yellow means caution. It means pay attention to the dashboard. The check engine light is on. The source material focuses on monitoring biological signals.
Right. We need to stop guessing about our health and start measuring. We need to look at key biomarkers like blood sugar, blood pressure, and inflammatory markers.
And the source has this great line, these are signals, not judgments.
I love that phrasing so much. Your blood test isn't a report card on your value as a human being. It's just data. If your HbA1c, which is a measure of your average blood sugar over 3 months, is creeping up, it's just a warning light. It says your engine is running a little hot.
And if you catch it at the yellow light stage, you don't hit the red light. You can reverse insulin resistance before it becomes full-blown type 2 diabetes.
Exactly. This is the essence of proactive health. But there is another yellow light mentioned in the source that is often missed by the traditional medical community. It's a hidden risk.
And that is loneliness and loss of purpose.
This is huge. The U.S. Surgeon General has recently been talking about the epidemic of loneliness, and the health consequences are on par with smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
How does that work? Why is loneliness a biological risk? I get that it feels bad emotionally, but how does it physically harm you?
It comes down to evolution. If you were a human 50,000 years ago and you were alone, you were dead. You were easy prey.
Yeah.
So isolation triggers a deep, primal, ancient stress response.
So your body thinks it's in constant danger.
Yes. Your nervous system goes on high alert. It creates chronic inflammation. It pumps out high levels of the stress hormone cortisol. It prepares you for a physical fight that never comes. And over time, that just wears down your cardiovascular system, your immune system, everything.
So feeling chronically isolated basically puts your body in a fight or flight mode permanently.
It does. And loss of purpose acts in a very similar way. When people retire and feel like they have no reason to get up in the morning, no one counting on them, we often see their health completely collapse within 18 to 24 months.
The retirement cliff effect.
You need a why. You need a reason to get out of bed. Without a why, the how of staying healthy just falls apart for most people.
So the takeaway is, check your blood pressure, but also check your calendar. Are you seeing friends? Do you have a project that excites you? Do you have a reason to get out of bed?
Crucial questions. Maybe as important as knowing your cholesterol numbers.
Finally, let's get to the good stuff. The green light. Foundations to build. This is the go signal. This is what we should be doing.
This is where we invest. This is the positive side of the compound interest equation.
First up on the green list, movement. But the source is very specific here. It doesn't just say do cardio. It specifically highlights strength and balance.
This is an absolute non-negotiable for healthy aging. If there's one thing I wish everyone would focus on, it's this.
Why strength specifically? I think a lot of people associate the gym with cardio, with the treadmill. Why do I need to lift heavy things?
Because of a condition called sarcopenia.
Sarcopenia, define that for us.
It's the age-related loss of muscle mass, strength, and function. After about age 30, you naturally lose muscle mass every single year unless you actively fight against it with resistance training. By the time you're 70, you can lose half your muscle fibers, specifically the fast-twitch ones, the powerful ones that catch you when you trip and fall.
So lifting weights isn't about vanity or looking good on the beach, especially as we get older. It's about maintaining independence.
It is independence insurance. You lift weights now so you can lift yourself off the toilet when you're 85. You do goblet squats now so you can pick up your grandkids later. You practice your balance so you don't fall and break a hip.
I heard a stat once that a hip fracture in someone over the age of 65 has a startlingly high mortality rate.
It's terrifying. Depending on the study, it's roughly a 30 to 40% mortality rate within 12 months of the fracture. It is a catastrophic, life-altering event. Strength training prevents the fall in the first place, and it strengthens the bone. So if you do fall, you are less likely to break. So we are lifting heavy things. Next green light is nutrition. But again, the source material stays away from diet cults. No, this diet is the one true way.
No, thankfully. The unifying principle is metabolic health.
Explain what that means in practical terms.
It means, how well does your body process energy? Can you efficiently switch between burning carbohydrates and burning fat for fuel? Is your insulin low and stable, or is it constantly jacked up?
So it's about avoiding the blood sugar roller coaster.
That's the perfect way to put it. I don't care if you're vegan, keto, paleo, or carnivore. If your blood sugar is on a wild roller coaster all day, you are aging faster, period. High blood sugar damages proteins throughout your body in a process called glycation. It literally dumbs up the works, making tissues stiff and old.
So the practical advice is focus on whole foods, get enough protein, and get enough fiber. Keep the engine running clean.
Precisely. Simple, but not easy.
And the final green light foundation. It's a beautiful way to bring it all together. We circle back to it.
Relationships.
The source calls them the things that make life worth extending.
That is the perfect summary of this entire conversation. I mean, why do we want to live longer and healthier? It's not to work more, it's to spend more quality time with the people we love.
Think about it. If you optimize your body to absolute perfection, you have 4% body fat and a VO2 max of a Tour de France cyclist, but you have no friends and your family can't stand to be around you, what have you accomplished? You have failed. You built a beautiful race car and you left it to rust in the garage.
That hits home. It really is about the whole picture, isn't it? The biology and the biography have to work together.
They have to. One without the other is an empty victory.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. I mean, from the scary Heisei stats to the biology of sitting to the power of lifting heavy things and calling a friend.
It's a lot to digest for sure.
So let's try to wrap this up with the 3 simple truths. These are the key takeaways from all our source material that we really want you to carry with you after you turn this off.
What are them?
Truth number 1, living longer doesn't automatically mean living better.
Right. Don't confuse the quantity of years with the quality of life.
Yeah.
The goal is not just more time, it's more good time, more life in your years.
Truth number 2, health span matters more than lifespan alone.
This should be your new obsession.
Yeah.
Focus on the good years. Push the sickness and decline to the very, very end. Square that curve.
And truth number 3, small choices today shape decades tomorrow.
You are building your future body and your future mind right now, in this moment. Every meal, every squat, every good night's sleep, every phone call to a friend is a vote for the person you want to be at 80.
That is so empowering. It means it is never too late to start, but the absolute best time to start is today, right now.
Absolutely. The second best time is tomorrow, but aim for today.
If this episode changed how you think about aging, if it sparked a little light bulb moment for you, please share it. Send the link to your partner, your parents, your sibling, or that friend who you know needs a little nudge.
Start the conversation. It's maybe the most important conversation you can possibly have with the people you care about.
And explicitly, we are asking you to please subscribe to the Living Better podcast. We have so much more ground to cover in future episodes on all of these topics.
Oh, you're just scratching the surface.
And please remember our mission here. We aren't here to sell you miracles. We are not selling magic beans or quick fixes. We're here to help you think clearly about living well.
Clear thinking leads to better living. It always does.
So I'm going to leave you with our slogan one last time because I think it really does sum up everything we talked about here today.
Say it.
Living longer is a science. Living better is a choice.
Make the choice.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care.